lock in, you can say, yeah, this is a kind of short split. It's added on extra. Spring is like, okay, it's not as important as summer. Summer's where it really counts. Let's go ahead and get into it. Cassiopeia and Poppy and Jace banned out by TL. C9 getting rid of Lee Sin and Orianna.
So Locke and Nocturne are the two that are getting perm banned usually, and both are not banned right now. So C9 has to decide, do we want to trade, or are we actually just going to leave, one up? Or are they going to ban out Locke, which is getting banned a tremendous amount? And they're going to ban Vi. So Locke is up and available. We might get the first Locke of LCS right here, right now. We'll see if Quid wants to go for it. Locke and Nocturne are the two picks that I'm really thinking of as those kind of prime picks right now. Two of the three most banned globally on this patch.
And when you think of Quid, you think of somebody who kind of built his name in LCS when people first started kind of turning heads towards this guy and how good he can be. You think of him on melee carries, right? You think that this fits right into the wheelhouse of what he would be able to play, and sure enough, there he is. All right, I'm going to hand it over to you, Azale, while I type in League of Legends.
I got you, brother. We got Ashen Pursuit, we got Purgatory, we got Ritual Nails, we got Silver Stake and Soul Ignition.
Yep.
Just download them.
I'm reading all of those right now, too. That's
So we got Akali as the answer, and this was something that I was really curious about, because Akali, another champion that is receiving a lot of bans, and it is another one of those powerful melee champs. So we're looking like we're going to have a couple of AP assassins here in the mid lane. Ezreal also, the most highly prized bot laner right now. Ezreal and Ziggs are the two that most players are going towards. Kai'Sa would make sense, though. It is kind of that traditional old school counter towards Ezreal, something that can really answer him in mid lane and side lanes, can take those 1v1s pretty effectively. And it will be interesting to see if they want to go towards Nautilus. Obviously, Nautilus not only good into the Ezreal, but I feel like Nautilus is good into Akali as well. Sure, you can Shroud if the depth charge is coming in, but you still get knocked up and revealed, and the hook and the follow-up is going to be there thereafter. So feels like it makes a lot of sense here. Even though Kai'Sa not as popular as it was back in the day, it's still a really popular pick, especially with Ezreal so prevalent in the meta.
Look, man, I know that Xayah and Rakan are written into League of Legends lore as a canonical couple, but Kai'Sa and Nautilus are the same thing in pro play. These two have been picked together time and time and time again.
What is Nautilus?
What?
Is there a dude in a suit? Or
He's the thing from BioShock.
So is it a guy in a suit? That's still not answering my question.
Clanky man. I don't know.
Is it just you with an outfit, or is it like some eternal being? Give me the lore, brother.
He's some guy. I don't know what the lore is. I can't read. He's there though. He's Kai'Sa's partner in crime.
He's there.
He's there. And you know who else is there? It's Leona. This is a champion
she's there too.
that can often be very successful against other engaged supports, because Leona will just be able to outstat them when it comes to the fight.
You press W, you are a lot tankier. Nautilus is kind of a fake tank. Nautilus is great as far as the engage is concerned, as far as the CC is concerned. The OG invade, I like that poster. But yeah, I mean, Nautilus goes in and Leona can kind of just intercept and go onto the Nautilus, and you can just kind of generally win out in those trades. Nefiri going to be the ban here, as there has been a lot of AD junglers getting taken out. We've obviously seen the Poppy getting banned, but a lot of focus towards Jose. We have seen this over the last couple months very consistently against TL. Jose has just been on fire. At MSI, he was incredible as well. So now it is Lee Sin, Nefiri, Vi, all banned against him. The Vayne says to me that Morgan wants to play Gnar, which is obviously one of his kind of bread and butter champs. These days, you generally see Vayne and sometimes also TF as those protection bans for Gnar, so that's kind of what is leading me to believe. But it does seem like with the Trundle ban, we could be getting a potential Xin Zhao for Blabber, or we could be seeing Thanatos thinking about a tank himself.
4 out of 5 bans towards Jose, man. That is so much respect for this guy in the jungle.
And it doesn't even feel like it's a bad move. Like, he's just playing that well.
He was, I 100% agree. At MSI, he was like the engine for Team Liquid in so much of what they were able to do. There's your ban for the Gnar coming out from Team Liquid. They do not want to give Thanatos one of his main champs.
Yeah, I just find the Vayne ban confusing then, to be honest. Because generally Vayne is considered a counter to Gnar, so you generally wouldn't be the one banning both, right? Because you're generally banning Vayne so you can play Gnar, but then they kind of like opened up the ability to play Gnar and then banned Gnar as well. So that was a bit surprising to me. But C9 considering Skarner here, which is really strong these days. Honestly, a tremendous amount of CC here between the Leona as well as that Skarner. Locke obviously really reliant on mobility as well as the W to stay alive. You can reactivate your W heal during CC, so that is up and available there for Locke. But Assassins always struggle against CC. Kai'Sa is going to be diving in. Locke is going to be diving in, and if you can lock them down, CC them up here with the Skarner, with the Leona, that could be pretty powerful. I
mean, even in, like, back before Skarner got his rework, I was always of the opinion that Skarner was the strongest in a meta where assassins are viable and assassins are powerful, because for a champion whose supposed weakness should be target access, when the targets come to you, you sit on your carry, you peel for your carry, the assassin is going to have a very difficult job. So Wukong, Renekton locked in here for Team Liquid. And over on the other side, we will get the Rumble for Thanatos on C9.
Yeah, Thanatos going to be grabbing that Rumble. Going to be set up pretty effectively, you have to think, by the Skarner and Leona. Some good lockdown there. And a lot of engage, honestly, on both sides. You know, there is the ability to pick people off from both sides. You have Nautilus and Wukong for the potential engage. Obviously, Morgan can come in on flanks, and on the other side, you're looking at Vulcan and Blabber to set up these fights. It's kind of similar styles of compositions, honestly. You know, some slight differences, but they both are running pretty normal stuff here across the board. I'm just really excited to see how Quid performs on this lock, first lock of LCS, and it's one of our melee specialists getting to play it, and he's getting to play it in this match against Loki, where Loki is back with C9, he's in his return, he's playing an AP assassin of his own. These kind of matchups can get crazy snowbally because assassins generally have much more, you know, poor wave clear. Their fallback patterns are a lot worse. So if someone gets ahead, it could get pretty one-sided.
I mean, they're the opposite of what we talk about when we think of like Maokai's and Sejuani's and things where it's like, yeah, the kit does the job no matter how much gold you have. It's fine if you're a pauper. It's not going to really matter that much. It's not really okay to be poor as a Kali or Locke, all right? You've got to make sure you're flying first class on these guys. And I'm really excited to see what Quid can do with it again. I think it's pretty audacious to leave it open against a melee specialist like we're talking about. We'll see if this backfires or not. If C9 ends up wishing they would have kept that one banned away. But first lock of the LCS, locked in for Quid, making our way to the Rift for game number 1 on this one. C9 and TL. I think it's also interesting because, you know, if we would have beaten HLE, if Lion would have beaten HLE at MSI, NA would have 4 seeds at Worlds. Since Lion did not succeed at that, we have our usual 3. And I think most people are considering Lion, FlyQuest, and the 2 teams here on the Rift right now as the ones really in contention for those spots. So your results against those other top teams are going to matter a lot in terms of your placement.
Yeah, it absolutely does for confidence and, you know, for getting that upper bracket advantage, trying to stay as safe as you possibly can, keep that extra life in playoffs. I mean, this is what the whole year really does build towards, is Summer Split. And there's so much importance on making Worlds, especially in a year where it's in NA, right? You know, it is local. This is an opportunity for these teams to, you know, build fandom, to, you know, have themselves exposed to so much of a massive audience. It's also worth mentioning, this is Emily's match of the week. And I gotta say, I feel bad for Raz because it feels like Emily gets first pick of the litter. And Raz is just left with the scraps.
Raz also makes interesting choices sometimes, as now Quid throws out some of those nails towards Loki here in the mid lane, just drinking the potions, healing back up. Remember that he gets 3 nails every time he tosses them out. The slow will stack as that collides. Loki back with C9. After leaving at the end of last year, he went back to Korea for personal reasons. Now that's been taken care of. He's returned to North America here with C9, and you know they're looking for this to be a big addition back to the team. He had some really impressive moments when he was with them last year, and I'm excited to see him back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was a really strong addition to the team, and you can see they even said, hey, we didn't want to get rid of Loki. It's just the way it worked out. You know, he had to go back to Korea, so they unfortunately were without him, and we're given the opportunity to bring Loki back, and did so immediately. So we'll see how he can hit the ground running here after playing in the LCK again for a while. He is back and fighting against Quid, and has not based just yet. But Quid doesn't want to trade too heavily after TPing before Loki TP's back, so just kind of keeping things even for now across the board. Really, all the lanes are just very, very even.
Well, the nice part for Locke against the Akali is because everything's a skill shot, if you have the idea of where he's at in the smoke, you can still do a lot of damage to him despite the fact that Loki might be in that normally very powerful defensive ability. Quid will just go ahead, pop a Soul Ignition, disengage off to the side here in the river. As we take a look at the junglers, we can see Jose Dioto has already gone back for his first shop, as has Blabber, but Jose has the slightly better purchase.
Yep, does have that better purchase. But before the game, Vulcan had a very important question to ask Dom. Let's take a listen.
Yo, Dom.
What's up?
On the broadcast, they were showing a collection of your slander tactical tweets.
How many did I have?
There's like 5.
I got 5
There's
slandering
like 5
tactical?
tweets.
That's it? I was slacking,
Yeah,
no?
I mean, I think they didn't pull all of them, maybe.
Oh, okay.
And then went straight to your interview with Azel. What did he ask you?
He's like, why did you use the slander tactical? I was like, I don't know. He's probably into like, I don't know, like, what do you want from me? Like,
5, that's it?
I like how it looks like Vulcan is waving to the camera, knowing that that's going to be pulled.
It's just like,
he knows
alright.
exactly what he's doing.
For sure.
That's
Clip
an
it and
LCS
ship
bet
it.
right there.
All right, pretty slow early game here for the first 4 minutes. Yesterday, we got to see some pretty wild gameplay in our FlyQuest versus Lion head-to-head, but Team Liquid and C9 playing a little bit more patient here in Game 1 today. As you can see, Quid step forward yet again, throwing out those nails, but not a whole lot of results other than clearing the win.
How do you feel about the Western theme skins?
I think they're pretty cool. The high noon ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're pretty dope.
Those are like top tier for me. I love the sound effects. I don't even care what they look like, to be honest with you. I just love the sound effects.
No, they're super cool. I like them a lot. I know that you and I have disagreed on some skins before because you really like Pajama Udyr, and I think it's just stupid. But
That's why I like it. You
We
just- you
really
just
agree
said
on
the
the high
reason to like
noon.
it.
Dredgeline comes in, collides with Tactical, but a nice essence shift.
Not sure where
gets
the
him out of
breakdown
the
of
way there.
communication is here.
No, it's...
You're
We
like,
are
I don't get
valuing
why
the
you like
stupidity
Pajama Urgot. It looks so
differently.
stupid. I'm like, yes, exactly. That's why it's great.
We're valuing this one differently, bro. It's decent attempt at the engage at the bottom side. Doesn't turn into a whole lot. Jose Diodo is going to go ahead start up this Drake solo, but the problem is Blabber is nearby. Now, of course, Team Liquid does have priority in the bottom lane, as Blabber will step forward. Jose not particularly fast at taking out this Drake. You can see he's stopped DPS now, as Loki will rotate over towards the area. And now it's going to be Blabber maintaining control over the Drake, as Jose has had to disengage. Blabber wants to try to finish this one off. Core JJ is wrapping around here, but Vulcan is going to join with both supports now showing their faces. It means that there's no contest available for TL, so C9 is going to get Drake #1, easy peasy.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Wukong just gave it up immediately. Jose was over there just farming up his Krugs, not going to look for any sort of a contest. Loki had first move from mid. They had the Leona there faster as well, so wasn't really going to happen for TL. And when you realize that the jig is up, all right, time to go do something else. You know, it's not going to work. Don't try to force it, and just continue to play your game. You can see Core moving through mid here, trying to help Quid get some prio. And so far, very, very quiet start to this game.
Yeah.
Not really even a lot of scrapping, to be honest, across the board. Just some kind of basic trades back and forth, but both teams feeling pretty comfortable and feeling, I think, pretty confident in their ability to take team fights. You know, both teams are kind of built fairly similarly, so it makes sense that no one is really feeling a lot of pressure on either side to kind of try to force something. I mean, it's really kind of down the line. You both got marksmen, you both got engaged supports, you both got AP assassins, you got like kind of bruisers in top lane. It's very, very similar.
And I mean, even the lanes themselves, look at these gold differences. It's nothing worth writing home about. It's not like anybody is building a decided advantage for themselves in their 1v1s, in their 2v2s.
Mom would still like if you wrote, though.
What?
You said it's not worth writing home about.
Oh, well, no, my parents would probably more like a letter from you. Like, let's be honest here. We know who their favorite caster is, but this is not exactly the most interesting tale to tell about the state of a game here between TL and C9. It is slow and steady. This is the opposite of that first series yesterday.
Yeah, it's exactly. That maybe it'll ramp up, you know?
Okay.
Maybe we're just building up to the epic conclusion.
Okay. It's like a magic card.
Yeah.
In Pokemon, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't do anything but splash for 20 levels. But then once you get to level 20,
Yeah.
that's when you're really feeling
That's when
good
it's
about
time
it.
to go hard.
Okay.
Or
so,
like Dune, you know? Great movie, but a little bit slow for a while.
yeah, I was definitely slow for a while there at the...
But it was worth it by the end, right?
Yeah,
The sandworm comes and eats somebody, you're like, oh, hell yeah.
By the end, it's really cool, but it takes a while to get there.
Just like this game.
I'll agree. You know, the first time I remember watching the first Lord of the Rings movie, back when it first came out,
Yep.
I was watching it with my family because, you know, I was like 10 years old or whatever. And it gets to the end of the first film. We didn't know it was a trilogy. And my dad just goes, wait, what the hell? That's how it ends? Because we weren't expecting that. And I still remember that and laugh about
What
it.
about the evil eye?
I was like, wait, yeah, they're just standing on a hill? We didn't even fight the real bad guy. All right, let's see if we can get a fight here against these bad guys. As immediately Team Liquid's going in. Vulcan going to soak a bunch of damage, chipping the front line, but a nice impale, ready to turn it around. Coming out from Blabber. Vulcan goes over the wall, but he goes down. It's first blood over to Quid as Loki takes out Hosedioto. Quid going back in, looking to find another one, and CoreJJ picks up the kill on Loki. It's 2-1 so far. Tactical trying to fire back as Blabber gets the slam over into the wall, and Tactical shifts forward. Quid still trying to get away. Tactical going after him. Quid is running into the enemy jungle, as now Blabber's got to be a little bit careful here against CoreJJ. Core putting some damage here into the Skarner. Blabber should be able to get away from this. There's no way Blabber's going to die to something ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Blabber for the crab. For the crab!
It's the call of the crab.
Son of
no
a
jungler can
crab.
resist it. Oh, man. CoreJJ used that crab as bait. Hook, line, and sinker. Got him.
Yep, normally you use worms, but against C9, you use crabs. All right, so 3-2 when the dust settles. We did get ourselves a pretty explosive fight once the PvP finally started.
Just had to be patience. And a little bit of patience, and you will be rewarded here. Quid ends up getting first blood, but both the assassins grab the kill. The game stays very, very even here, and C9 already had taken one of the grubs, so TL will clean up the rest of them, and we will move forward here as everyone was down to scrap for this. This initial engage looking very good. The two-man impale came through, and you can see that True Shot Barrage from Tactical went through multiple members. There's so much upfront damage, but on the other side, it was Quid helping to burst through these people. You can see how much mobility Locke has. He's kind of just dipping in and out of these fights constantly, trying to keep that threat on, staying around even at low health because he knows he has the mobility to escape afterwards. And then this, I thought Blabber was baiting. I thought Blabber was going to have his shield ready and then like hit the shield as Core hooks in and then stun him into the wall and they were going to kill him or something. But he just didn't have it, I guess, and didn't expect that Core would go back in.
See, I was hoping that that's what it was, but I also was thinking that it wasn't, and he was just getting a little too ahead of himself. But now up here with the top side, as soon as we're back, Quid is back at it. Up here with the top side, makes the roam over to top lane, and he and Morgan work together to get a kill onto Thanatos. So Locke is off to the races, my friend. 2-0-2 now in this game. 100% kill participation. Has a couple of those for the extra money. Blabber's going to go ahead, grab your MasterCard. Power Spike there with that Protoplasm Harness. This thing is so strong. That proc effect is so effective at preventing what would otherwise be a death. I really like this as a first item, particularly on junglers that can do a lot with it like Skarner does, as the Dragon should be secured here by C9. So Team Liquid might have the advantage in terms of kills, in terms of gold, but C9's done a good job getting those first two Drakes. Now Tactical's going to be in some danger. Hosedioto down here in the bottom lane, and TL picks up their fifth.
Nicely done. Just flash out, ult onto Tactical, and there's nowhere he can go, no way to escape. Jan was still holding onto the killer instinct, so even if he had his flash, it would not have mattered. And this is, I guess, how they set up that previous play. Was the TP in from Quid, just came in behind, and very difficult for Thanatos to do anything from that position. He realized he was dead to rights, so did use the equalizer, but kind of just accepted his death thereafter.
And remember, the more kills Quid can manage to get with Purgatory, with that ultimate, the higher the execution threshold on the ability is going to become. So snowballing for this champion, even stronger than it is compared to most other characters in the game. Quid already off to this good start. Definitely going to be scary. Definitely going to be a problem that C9 will have to contain if they want to have a chance. Because we went from this very even game state with nothing happening to a fight around the grubs, a subsequent pick in top and bottom lane both, and Team Liquid's up 2,000 gold.
Yeah, they are. And he already has increased the bonus XQ threshold by 1%, so it's 10% based on rank 1, and then he gets an additional 1% for the souls that he has collected thus far.
And it's important to note, too, I think, that the rank up of the skill is 1% per level. It goes 10, 11, 12. So what he's done so far is an extra level in his ultimate for execution. That feels really strong.
Yeah, especially if you do have a game that was like the games we were casting yesterday, where it gets super bloody and you're just having non-stop fights. It can become very, very relevant when you do ramp up that execute, because Locke does so much upfront burst. It is really hard to survive the combo from a Locke if he gets ahead of the pace of the game at all, and then you're giving him additional execute threshold, and it becomes almost impossible.
It becomes haha Lamau XD release Smolder again. So that's probably not the world that C9 wants to live in. They will definitely need to mark Quid on every single fight, as Jan does a good job trading with Tactical here in mid lane, sidesteps that last Mystic shot, too, to make sure that he wins out in the trade. But there's nothing for the teams to really fight over right now. Still 3 minutes until the Drake, a little under 2 minutes till Rift Herald.
Yeah, there's so many melee champions in this game, too. It was kind of interesting, you know, Blabber obviously going Protoplasm, which is very standard, but I was wondering if it would be a game for, like, Grass Part Steal, since it was going Grass, because there are 4 melee champs. If you're not getting focused down early, you can sometimes get tons of value from that item, but we haven't seen any kind of tech that I would consider is kind of, you know, an answer to all of these melee champs, but both sides have 4 melee champions, and it feels like we are moving more and more in that direction in this current meta.
Yeah.
We saw yesterday we had, you know, Jace versus Silas bot. We are having all kinds of these kind of just brawly comps that can turn into really, really bloody games.
And I feel like that does make Skarner much better. Modern Skarner with the AoE Impale that has that long wind-up time, it can be kind of tricky to land it on a high-value carry target that's a ranged champion. But when everybody just goes into a big pile of melees, very, very easy to get multiple targets as Vulcan's making his way up here into the top side. Hose the Odo following. So that means that this 1v1 between the top laners is just going to fizzle out. Both ultimates were committed there. Both players dropping down to about half HP.
Yep, and both teams end up just covering their top laners here. And sometimes that's what proper play looks like, is that nothing happens because both teams covered. Both teams anticipated the play, and it's neutralized, exactly as you say. And that was the case there. Of course, you know, Vulcan coming in, they would have been able to take that 2v1, but when you see Jose and Core moving up to answer, then of course there is no play to be had. And you can see Quid going on back to base. Already has 6 stacks on the Darksteel as well, which is going to be really nice. Got that as an early buy, and is going to be feeling pretty good about it thus far.
All right, C9 just trying to maintain control in their own jungle here. As you can see, Team Liquid setting up some defensive wards, offensive wards, I guess I would say, because they're in the enemy jungle. They want to make sure that C9 can't do anything about this Rift Herald fight. Mid laners dueling down here in the bottom side. Quid healing back up for the Soul Ignition. Can be so frustrating to trade with this guy because of how much he can heal with that W.
Yeah, it is really difficult to actually play around sometimes as well, because there is that reactivation even during CC. Is something that can make it quite strong. But we'll see. Game like this, always when it is going a little bit slower, when the fights do break out, they are that much more important. And I feel like we are going to have a fight here at this next Dragon. I think especially in a game like this where it is so brawly, where there's so many melee champions, Ocean Soul is actually quite valuable, and C9 did get the first 2 dragons here. Next one spawning in 15, and I think TL is going to want to stop that stack towards Soul.
All right, Team Liquid, let's see if you can manage to get the control that you need. C9 does at least own this brush on the bottom side of mid lane. Jan wants to step forward, try to chunk out Tactical and Vulcan a little bit, but he won't get much for it. Blabber also hanging around. Core JJ hits the dredge line, but again, a nice arcane shift from Tactical means that it's kind of just Core JJ losing his Aftershock proc there.
Yeah, Tactical is taking a bit of damage, though, at the end of the day. You know, he did take an auto or 2 from Jan. He took that hook from Core. Now he's down almost a half HP, so slowly getting whittled away on. And I think that is actually going to cause C9 to just give this up. I don't think they're going to contest it very heavily anymore. I could be wrong, but I just feel like with Ezreal low, it doesn't make sense, so they're going to make the call to just back off and cede this one over to TL. So the game will stay very, very close here. It is that just under 2K gold lead for TL, but doesn't really mean that much at this point in the game.
Yeah, it still could go either way very easily, just depending on if somebody gets a really good team fight engage, starts off with a pick or something. Pose the Odo. Wants to try to contest Blabber here for the crab, but Vulcan waiting in the brush is ready to turn things around. They want to commit the Solar Flare, host the Odo, flashing away to stay alive as Jan rotates over into the fight. True shot barrage, hitting the target from a long way away. Loki's got the assassination, and Jose the Odo is down. Jose just getting a little ahead of himself there. Wanted to contest the crab against Blabber, but was not respecting the fact that other players from C9 were able to join.
Yeah, exactly, and they had that earlier reset because they weren't actually contesting. Quid looking for Loki, though, who has no ult available.
See, normally I don't get really anticipatory when the target is starting at 100% HP, but it's lock.
Yeah,
so
he hits you with 2 nails and autos you and you die.
Yeah, it's 2 Qs, he E's you, he gets the thing, throws the Purgatory on you, and you blow up.
Yeah.
So
it is crazy how much damage this champion can do when things are working in his favor, especially when you look sometimes at the build and you're like, he's got Merc Treads, he's got a Kindle Gem. Like
he's got a Lich Bane.
Yeah.
Well, the Lich Bane is enough.
The Lich Bane is enough. Turns out.
Turns out the E priming your next attack with extra damage, plus the Lich Bane damage, plus the Nail Explosion damage.
It's a lot.
Your health bar disappears, and then you get 8 by the grenade.
Well, Jan is on 2 items now, just kind of quietly been farming it up here. Both AD carries farming well, but Jan definitely ahead of the pace a little bit here. You know, did get that call and has paid dividends now at this point. And will be difficult, I think, sometimes for C9 to deal with. You know, if they can't actually lock him down immediately, Kai'Sa is going to be problematic. There are a lot of easy targets for Kai'Sa to be auto-attacking against a team like this, and this is one of those games where, you know, Lethal Tempo, Kraken, Rageblade, he's probably going to get really good value. Like, it's probably going to get stacked on someone, and Kai'Sa can really start to put out a crazy amount of damage in that case.
Okay, Quid got to get away now as Blabber shows up towards this bottom side tri-brush at the entrance to the jungle. Does not want to allow Locke to set a trap anywhere for anyone on his team. It's 19 minutes into the game and no turrets are dead. This mid lane tier 1 is looking a little worse for wear on the C9 side. Rift Herald summoned up since TL was able to secure that earlier, and the charge will take care of it. So finally, 19 minutes, 14 seconds into the game, we get our first turret take.
I mean, that's a game with 8 melee champs, right? No one can siege. And it's so dangerous to actually walk up as a melee champ in front of another melee champ and try to start hitting the tower. So you generally have to win fights to take objectives. So, you know, it is going to be about the brawls when they do finally opt into it. Both teams, though, playing pretty quietly, playing pretty patiently. And we are looking to just a game that seems like a slow build towards Seoul.
And something else we're building towards is our Summer Championship at the Gas South Arena in Atlanta, Georgia on October 3rd and 4th. You can go ahead and get your tickets now with that QR code on the screen. Should be a fun time. Last time we were in Atlanta, I believe, was Worlds 2022 in the semifinals phase. So going to be heading back there here real soon. Thanatos trying to trade aggressively into Quid, who throws out the Purgatory, and as soon as you see that circle on the ground, Thanatos instantly flash. He wanted nothing to do with it.
Yep, it says, sorry, and flashes out of there.
My bad, bro.
Gets out, no problem. It is going to survive. And as the game is going slow, we got a little bit of time to talk about things that have happened in the past.
Yeah, so this is obviously a pretty sore spot for a lot of C9 fans right now. Great regular season, like Jat mentioned, on Waiting Room, but then playoffs was a crash and burn to the point where MSI post-game threads, whenever someone would get swept, and remember there were a lot of sweeps at MSI, especially in those early phases, one of the comments would always inevitably be, yeah, but imagine being C9 right now, because they didn't make it there. The fans are very angry at this team, and it feels like all of the benevolence, all the goodwill they built up in the regular season ended up falling by the wayside for the disappointment that playoffs was in spring.
And I mean, I get it. It's been a lot of times in a row that C9 has fallen short at that last hurdle before getting to international, but people I think are being a bit too negative because is it playoffs, Flowers?
No.
Or is it the regular season?
It's week 1.
Is it day 1 of the regular season for Cloud9? They're just about to start powering up.
Okay, so
this is their time.
This is the beginning of the week.
We are here. We're not here.
Okay.
Don't worry about that. Don't look over there.
Don't look at the numbers at the end. Only look at the good numbers.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Looking on the bright side of life. I can respect that. I feel like that's got to be your plan if you're on C9 too. You know that you ran the show for the majority of spring, but just couldn't clutch it up when you really had to. So hopefully for them, they've got more of that X factor when push comes to shove, because right now we're going to have another one of those push versus shove moments as the next dragon is spawning. If C9 can secure it, they will move on to Soul Point, but the previous one, Team Liquid took without a contest.
Exactly. They were able to get enough poke down on Tactical. This time Jan took a tiny bit of poke, so has Tactical, but both AD carries about dead even in health. And they're going to look for a fight.
Yep, supports immediately threatening one another as the dragon is begun by C9, but a TP is coming in deep from the Team Liquid top laner. Morgan all the way around, wrapped towards the backside of C9's roster. Hosidioto's got to be careful. He is marked with a Shuriken flip coming out from Loki, as now Morgan makes his way into the backline, looking to find the damage onto Tactical, but nobody else on the team from TL is ready to go. Equalizer thrown down defensively, looking to get Tactical and Vulcan out of danger. Morgan also down to 1/3 HP. Blabber and Thanatos trying to get the damage onto Jose, but the clone is the only thing taken low. C9 with the health bar advantage. Vulcan's the only one really in danger here. Blabber on the front line yet again. Core JJ going to be taken low, but he flashes out, keeps himself alive for now. Thanatos still flame spitting. Tactical grabs the kill into Morgan. Blabber with a slam into the wall on Quid. The lock has to flash away. More flame spitter damage coming out, and Core JJ dies. Everybody on Team Liquid will evaporate and Cloud9 clutches up the team fight. They're going to get 3 for nothing.
C9 coming up huge there, handled that fight so well. They find Morgan on this flank here, and Vulcan and Tactical are just able to pump the damage into him, even though Tactical is threatened somewhat. He played this very, very well, kiting back, pushing Morgan out. The equalizer comes through to cover and sections off both Quid and Morgan from the side. Then Jose has to flash away as Blabber flashed in for that impale. And C9 just have the bigger health bars. Tactical's the only one that took damage, and they're able to go back in here. Loki as well as Blabber tanking up the damage, diving in, and being able to set up their team for the fight. This looked like it was going to be a fight that could favor TL. They had the slight gold advantage. But this C9 walking away with 3 kills to 0, and they are now on sole point. And when you look at extended fights like that are really brawly, if you add in Ocean Soul, it is going to feel pretty hopeless if you can't just one-shot someone to start the fight.
Exactly. That Team Liquid gold lead cut down by about 1,500. C9 now with the soul point threat for the rest of the game. Vulcan moves into the enemy jungle. Jose Dioto with a quick clone over the wall. Keeps himself alive, but does lose his Gromp. That's more money in the C9 pockets, and they're going to get even more on top of it with the Tier 1 turret finally falling down. The gold nearly equalized now, and I really like what Loki did in that previous team fight. He throws a bunch of burst into Quid without committing the perfect execution, just so the lock is scared to go in and try to get some sort of a counter burst. It keeps him on his back foot the entire fight. There was no way for TL to really try to find the counterpunch there.
Yeah, it seemed like a very difficult fight for them in general. Morgan was stifled pretty easily on that flank, and that was, a lot of what they were expecting to kind of really push things in their favor. Jose got chunked out very low early on in the fight, so you didn't have that kind of 1-2 punch of Morgan and Jose hitting at the same time. They couldn't dive in, create that chaos, and create the opportunity for Quid. And by the time Jose actually used his Cyclone, the fight was basically over. So,
yeah.
They need to be able to create that space for Quid. They need to be able to force cooldowns, force defenses to be able to be used on them so that it creates that space for Quid to go in and try to take over.
All right, Team Liquid is seeing if maybe they can find something inside the Cloud9 jungle here, just sweeping out. No wards for them to be spotted by thus far. Jan and Jose just hoping maybe Vulcan Tactical gets a little careless, tries to step up. It's going to be Blabber face-checking into the brush first, as C9 is grouped up as a 4-man unit. Loki, not quite with everybody else, but is nearby, ready to try to make an approach on the flank if a fight should break out. There is nothing to fight for right now. Worth pointing out, if they choose to go, it's just because they are bloodthirsty.
For the love of the game.
Yep, just fighting for the love of it.
You know what? I respect it.
Honestly, I do too. It's a PvP game.
Yep.
Right? It's PvP. You got to find another P and VP them. Now we've got the...
Need 2 Ps.
Well, we already have an engage up here in the top side now as Vulcan's going to be in some danger. Down about 40% HP. They want to try to find the execution, but Vulcan's staying alive. Quid goes on a killing spree and finds the first kill. Now Tactical's in danger. Quid is resetting. He's going in again and again. The shutdown onto the Ezreal. But now Blabber has also fallen. It's a 3 for 3 when the dust settles. Both mid laners still alive with Jose and Thanatos supporting those respective mids. The bodies hit the floor all over the place.
It is just a brawl, man. All of these melee champions go into the meat grinder. There's so much AoE CC, so much AoE damage coming out that at the end of the day, it is just that wash, the 3 for 3. Both AD carries get taken down, and the dust settles. No one can really siege. No one can push because they didn't get that decisive win.
No, I have no way of getting vision here. It's really hard.
I'm gonna walk up.
Yeah.
Don't get lost.
I think we do have to get rushed. They're one-shotting us.
Guys, they can.
They're on me, on me. Wukong ult. React and beyond, okay? Don't get rushed.
Yeah.
Look.
I hit lock.
Cast an ult, no flash. Up to you guys. Look Renekton.
Guys,
Okay. Okay, Renekton.
Look,
Careful, lock now.
Yep.
Lock
is E.
Good comms there, honestly, from C9. Very clear. And talking through the fact that they could be on Baron, they need to get vision. They walked over. They were all on the same page. And pretty clean during that fight as well. So C9 seeming pretty locked in with their 2 members here in this first game, hoping to be able to take down TL, and TL is going to have to stop them in 45 seconds. It's really going to be about the setup, but TL wants to fight before that.
Yeah, they immediately go in. Jose with a 3-man knock-up, but the tanky players on C9 are soaking the damage for now. A lot of burst onto Quid, but he recovers quickly. Now you've got the focus onto the back line, but Yon stays alive. Shut down on Loki at the same time, coming out from Quid's lock. As now, in the middle of everybody, Morgan still trying to find a little bit more. Quid following up. Tactical in danger as the Ritual Nails will pound his coffin straight into the ground. Vulcan's the next to die most likely as Blabber tries to tunnel away through the wall. Hosdioto on the chase. Quid mops up another one, a double kill for the Team Liquid mid laner. Thanatos is the last man standing, and the Ashen Pursuit is a triple kill for Quid.
You see the resets coming through there for Quid, and he's able to take over the fight. Had the death cap complete right before that, and we can see this fight one more time. Yon bought so much time as Core and Jose start off the fight. C9 decides to full send it on to Yon. He repositions with the Killer Instinct, tanks that True Shot Barrage, flashes out. Loki can't get the final auto to finish him off, goes down, and that means that on the other side, look at all the space Morgan is creating. Going forward, tanks up the CC, gets the stun down, buys the time for Quid to get the reset, who then is just off to the races. Look at the passive auto coming through, finishes off another, and the amount of mobility that this guy has is just ridiculous. Chases in, gets another kill, and on live, we saw them over by the Baron.
Nice fight, guys.
Wait, what? This is the worst thing to come back to from a replay. Do you think Baron paused it?
Baron might have paused. If I was Baron, I would try to pause.
I'd be pretty frustrated.
Wait a second. You're telling me I can't move? I'm stuck here?
There's a lot of water bottles in this shot. Is this spillage? I'm not sure.
Okay, so the update I've got is that Jose Diodo's keyboard keeps disconnecting. So they're going to try to get that figured out. Keyboard's pretty important in League of Legends.
You definitely need that. That is...
but I would argue you need it less than the mouse.
Yeah, you could technically, if you want to click your abilities, you could do it. It would be pretty hard to play without a mouse. I mean, I don't think pros are allowed to play with WASD mode. I don't think that's enabled
Probably not.
on stage games.
I don't even know.
But I
Good
mean,
question.
Maybe you could do that. But no, it still wouldn't work out very well.
No.
You know, for a couple years there, I was using a keyboard. The S key on my keyboard fell off because I was playing too many like Elden Ring type of games, and so you have to walk back a lot. So the key still worked, but it had fallen off. Yeah. So it was really hard to press, and in any game that I needed to press S for whatever reason, it was pretty awkward. And that's only one key. So having the whole keyboard randomly just decide not to work, that is not conducive to some good Wukong gameplay. So hopefully Jose can get that thing reconnected. I mean, generally when I have a problem like this, you just follow the classic N64 cartridge strategy of just blowing air into the plug-in thingy. Like that's, I mean, come on, everybody did that. That's what you do.
Have you tried unplugging and plugging it back in again?
Yeah, that's the other step as well.
Step one. Blowing out is step two. Step three is I called Joanne to fix it for me.
Just be like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but it doesn't work. You're just sitting there with your little propeller hat. You're like, I need help.
Help. Yeah, she's better with IT than I am.
It's okay. I don't know how computers work at all. I'm so glad we have smart people here at LCS to know how to fix this stuff because I sure don't.
Yes, at LCS, there isn't even step one and step two. You just call for help.
No, you immediately.
You're afraid that you could break something expensive.
Dude, back when we had when we were doing those from your bedroom Corona casts back in 2020. The Corona cast extraordinaire. Yep. Those things, every single day, I remember I would have to just be like, hey, tech people, I don't know what's going on. I think I broke something on accident. They'd be like, that's okay, man. We'll fix it.
That tracks.
That was a rough one. All right. Hey, part of being bad at something, the first step is recognizing that you're bad.
Yep.
And Isaac, I recognize that I am very bad.
There you go.
When it comes to these types.
You're good at being bad.
Yeah, and you know what? That makes me good.
There you go. We'll take that.
Jose Diodo, hopefully,
he's looking smiley.
Yeah, he's smiling about something. I hope he's smiling at how well his keyboard
functions. He's pressing the buttons. He's inspecting it.
Got to make sure it's good.
Yeah, he's making sure he's still got all his keys on there. Yep. He's checking for the missing S. He was listening to your story.
Yeah, that S key is important, bro.
Hold up. I need to make sure I have an S key.
Okay.
He's getting pretty close.
Yeah.
He's got a, you know.
He's really
got, I
inspecting
feel
that.
like, more steps than us to make sure something's working.
I mean, yeah, I'll just press like one button. If the button works, I'm like, okay, let's go.
The light's on. I think we're good.
Okay, are we ready to go? Hopefully right back into the game, because honestly, you want to keep...
No, look at him. He's getting close. I can see in the player cam. Well, we're looking at the other team, but in the background, I could see it. He was really getting up close and personal with that keyboard. So he's making sure everything's good.
This gives me more time to read Locke's abilities.
All right. Hopefully, we will be getting back to this pretty soon. Kicking off second day here of the summer split for LCS. A TL versus C9. If you're just tuning in, it is a very close game thus far. But TL did just take a big team fight win. They are up 4K. They feel like they're in the driver's seat a bit now. But C9, I think, definitely still has a good shot because they are on Soul Point. And if they can get that soul, then the lead is completely erased, I think.
Okay, so update from producers. They say that we're getting ready checks now. We should be ready to hop back into the game. There is a chance that the computer, well, not the computer, the keyboard, I guess, specifically, is still goofed. If it is still goofed, they are prepping a backup keyboard so we can just entirely swap it out.
Okay.
So there might be one more pause
We
if it
didn't
continues not to work.
So I feel,
yeah.
I'm feeling good about it.
Jose Diodo, I hope that the keyboard is working still pretty well here because Team Liquid's in a great spot now. After that last fight, after grabbing the Baron, they're up 4,000 gold. Maul of Malmortius fully complete now for Jose. That's 3 items. You already mentioned how the hat was purchased by Quid before that last fight. He's got his Chovy belt. He's also now got Medjai's Soul Stealer upgraded to start putting some pages in the book. And he's got a $700 bounty.
I mean, he had so much gold after that because he had just finished the death cap. He had spent all his gold right before that fight, went back, bought Medjai's and the Blighting Jewel. So is well on his way towards a Void Staff, and then he's 6 items at that point, unless he loses all his stacks and want to swap out the Medjai's or something. But Quid is yet to die this game. He is monster fed at this point, and he is going to have his eyes on Tactical. It is going to be up to Tactical to try to stay alive, but you can't just be sitting back and doing nothing but shooting Qs because your team needs you to do damage.
And that's kind of what I was wondering about after the draft got done. I said, we'll see if C9 ends up regretting letting this very powerful new champion through against a team that has a very skilled melee assassin mid lane player. And it feels like right now, you hit tab, you look at the scoreboard, you see 8-0 and 4.
There's a little regret.
Yeah, you're probably rethinking those draft decisions, at least up against a team like TL, as they now do have that Baron still for a little while longer, and they're going to push down this bottom lane. The tier 2 turret just barely hanging on, plenty of crust on that thing, just one auto attack. Honestly, ought to knock it over. And there it is, knocked out by Yon. Meanwhile, over in mid, Quid's going to do the same thing to the tier 2 here. 5,000 gold lead now for TL, as they still have that tier 2 turret standing in the top lane to try to take out. It doesn't look like they're going to put a lot of pressure onto the tier 3s right now, and that goes back to what you were talking about earlier. 8 melee champions in a game means sieges are not as simple as they normally do.
Yeah, sieges just aren't really a thing, to be honest. I mean, you can push up, obviously, with Baron, and there's not great wave clear on the other side, so they are getting some towers taken down, but you're not going to crack the base without a fight, right? It's just not going to happen, because if you walk up as a melee champion, get CC'd under the tower, it is just so hard to take a fight from that position. It was a good true shot barrage from Tactical that cleared out actually a lot of the previous wave in top lane before that got Baron empowered. And it feels like TL is just going to kind of take what they have gotten for now. They go back, they spend up all their gold, they get back out on the map, and they're going to be looking to really set up shop around the Dragon area. In these next couple of minutes, they're going to try to really control vision in this whole section, make sure that there's no deep wards for TPs for C9, make sure that they are just choking them out vision-wise as much as they possibly can to get themselves to Soul Point without much of a contest from C9, because that's really the hope for C9 right now, is just being able to get that Soul.
Yeah, C9 know that they got to try to pull themselves back into this game with a big move. They are very far down at this point for a game that's mostly been very close. That last big sequence of team fight into Baron has really skewed things far into Team Liquid's favor. When we're checking at fully completed items, now Maul of Malmortius also fully done for Yon, so double Maws here on Jose and Yon together is going to make the job of Loki to find these assassinations that much more difficult. Yeah, triple Maw, sorry, wasn't even looking at the crocodile up there in the top side. So Loki and Thanatos, the double AP solo laners on the C9 side, that damage is going to have a lot to punch through.
And I mean, that's why the Tactical's job is so important, right? You're looking at triple Maw, you're looking at 4 Merc Treads, so there's so much MR over on that side, and they're going to have to be able to try to punch through that. And Tactical is the only one dealing physical damage, so he has got to position well. He's got to get a lot of damage out, but he's also not got to get one shot by Quid, because Quid just finished the Void Staff. He is on 6 items here before this fight. And it is only 32 minutes into the game when he hit that 6 items. This guy is monster fed, so if Tactical mispositions at all, it could cost him his life, but that is a nice chunk onto Yon. 30 seconds before Dragon. He's going to have to go back to base. There's no red buff to heal up off of. Maybe he can find a plant or something.
He does have the
red buff. Okay, he just picked it up.
He's already got his red buff, so he should be able to hang around for this one. But considering he had to step back, it does buy C9 the opportunity to step into the river and take priority over the area. Loki still hanging off to the side. In the bottom side, Tribrush, CoreJJ going in here with the dredge line. Vulcan's going to be your first target, and Quid is already legendary. Into the back line, he goes with Gone, and Tactical's gone. Blabber now trapped in the middle of the Team Liquid army, and there is no way home for the Scorpion. Impale buys him a moment, but that moment is nothing at all in the grand scheme of things. Team Liquid, they pick up 3 for free. It wasn't even a fight, man. They just found their moment. They instantly go in, and now it's just Thanatos and Loki trying to survive.
Yeah, and I thought TL might have tried to go for the end, but they don't feel that they can with their 4 melee champs, so they decide to push bot. They take mid and hib. They get the Dragon at the same time, so they're kind of trying to make sure that they still have that fallback here and not full sending it to try to actually finish the game. And I think that was the correct call given the situation here. But Quid now on 18 stacks on the Magi's, getting even stronger. And like you said, that fight just was not close. I mean, C9 got pretty split up. Vulcan died instantly. Tactical is off on the side away from the rest of his team. And, you know, you have good mobility, but you're never escaping. Once Jose gets on you and the killer instinct comes through, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's just rough stuff, man. Here's another look at how it started, because Vulcan's life is going to disappear.
Yeah, and Core just walks in and just says, we're strong enough, I'm just going to find a fight. Throws the ult onto Tactical with the flash. That sets up the killer instinct. Quid goes in. They immediately get back there, take him down. And it's just a great engage from Core, and it looks like we might be setting up for one more. Thanatos got spotted.
Yep, Baron is about to spawn. It is on the map right now. C9 going in, trying to find some damage onto Hosvioto, but they don't get much. Morgan wrapping around from the side. Vulcan could be your target. He and Blabber here on the front line. Loki tries to dive in after Quid, but he ain't going to find him. Quid goes down the Purgatory. Not enough damage here quite yet. Hosvioto is shut down. Nice kill going over to Tactical. Morgan might be the next to fall, but he still stays alive as Yon assassinates Loki. C9 end up trading 1 for 1 here. Honestly, not too bad.
No, not bad at all. Morgan almost went down, but did survive. Vulcan got incredibly low, but survived also. That was really well positioned there by Tactical. He just kind of shifted back with his entire team in like an arc around him to protect him after he got hit by that depth charge that was thrown out there by CoreJJ. So it was pretty difficult for TL to actually follow up on it. If Yon had just gone back in, all of C9 are there, ready to pounce, and this time they had that proper positioning, are able to trade kills here. But the Baron is on the table, and they know it's not being taken for now. 3 minutes until Seoul, both teams at 3 dragons. And while it is a big gold lead for TL, there is no more room to grow for Quid. And Quid is going to be sitting on quite a lot of gold at this point. So all he can do is just chain buy elixirs, and that at least is something slightly helping out C9.
I like to use the word silver lining sometimes. This doesn't even feel like
a bronze lining.
Silver, maybe an iron lining, right? There's some.
That one's extra grim. That one's like.
There's some minerals in the clouds right now. It's not so great as Blabber's eating a lot of damage here on the front line. Tries to go for the defensive impale, and he gets a lot back onto Quid, but he still dies. Quid is traded with him, as Tactical's going to be your next target. Team Liquid diving in after the Ezreal, and they found their target. Not quite yet, but Morgan's able to find the kill with the Ruthless Predator. Now Thanatos about to drop. It was a double kill for the Rumble, but it will not matter. Only Vulcan still stands. Leona will not be able to clear the wave. It's 50-second death timers on almost everybody else. And finally, after a big bunch of bloody melee brawls, it's Team Liquid coming out on top, taking it into the Nexus.
Yeah, they're going to be able to take game 1 here. C9 thought they had a pick onto Quid, and they did kill him, but it cost them everything here as he just lived for so long. TL going to be able to finish this one up.
Yeah, Vulcan wants to try to waste a little bit of time, but ultimately he's not going to be able to do enough. It's an ace. Yon will take the final kill of game 1. Team Liquid will pad their minion stats a little bit more. 22-14. TL goes up 1-0. Let's see what kind of adjustments C9 make here in this one as they choose first pick. Team Liquid choose blue side. Cassio and Vi banned out by TL. C9 banning out Poppy and Nocturne.
Yeah, so C9, I think if they were going to make changes in this series, they would have after a loss, right? You know, I was thinking, hey, maybe they're going to bring someone else in or bring the other two in. It'll be interesting to see how they do develop with that over the coming weeks. Zig's going to get banned out this time around. Nocturne, which was left up last time, is going to be banned this time. Now I'm thinking about Orianna, I'm thinking about Jace, I'm thinking about champions along those lines, and those are both up, so it feels like there's a potential for a trade there. Syndra also a champion that is very high prio these days, so yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Jace first pick, and then you allow TL to have the Ori potentially, or the Syndra, and you can potentially answer with the other, but instead it is going to be Lee Sin taken away because, of course, Jose is just too good on this pick, so makes a lot of sense that they were just going towards it.
Yeah, I mean, we're only one game in to Fearless. Like, best of 3 doesn't really see that same stress on the champion pools that a best of 5 would. Jose's Lee, I mean, you said it, man. This is notorious.
He's one of the best in the world.
A global scale. Exactly. Yeah. Not just here in North America. This guy is crazy on the champion. If you can play it at all, Blabber's Lee is not legendary, but it's certainly not bad. Blabber can pilot Lee perfectly fine, and denying it from Jose is huge. But that means that we're going to see Jose on the dog. Nefiri locked in alongside that Syndra that you mentioned as a flex pick.
Yep, so Syndra is coming in as a flex. We are seeing it both mid and bot quite a bit these days. It is a champion that is getting a ton of bans as well. Orianna, you know, you can go that route. You also can go towards Ryze. Ryze can become very tanky, early Merc Treads, early Catalyst. It's very difficult for Syndra to burst through that, so would not be surprised at all to see Loki go that direction. Also allows you to play the map, and I feel like when Thanatos is on a carry and you have a mid laner that can move, that is generally a pretty strong recipe for C9, and they're actually going to double down on that with Vulcan grabbing his Bard. Vulcan definitely an incredible Bard player, and now you have not only a strong early ganking jungler, but you have a support that can roam, a mid laner that can roam, and you could potentially set up to get something strong for Thanatos to play and play towards that.
Yeah, Vulcan's Bard is great. I mean, last year, obviously, the big story was always all around Bucio's Bard, but now that he has defected, Vulcan is the #1 Bard. So his Bard, very scary, can make a ton of plays, also kind of affects the map in a way when you were talking about Jace being a potential pick, when you're talking about Ryze being picked here already for C9, playing side lanes becomes much more difficult for the team that's against a Bard.
Yep, so Caitlyn going to get banned out, one of those really strong Bard pairings, something that we've seen a lot of. Going to be curious to see what else they want to look to try to take away here. You know, are they going to be concerned about, you know, traditional AD carries? Sometimes people like to go things, you know, they're less about the pairing with the Bard and more just things that enable the Bard to actually move around the map. You see that sometimes with Mage's Bot. You see that sometimes with things like Sivir as well. Orianna, you know, is a concern here with the pairing of the Rel as well as the Nefiri. We know that they already have Syndra, but again, Syndra could be going bot, so with the potential of that Syndra flex, C9 don't want to give both Syndra and Orianna over. And curious, yeah, what this last ban will be from TL. I'm assuming they're going to continue to attack pairings here for tactical. Obviously, Caitlyn Bard gives you a really dominant 2v2, so that's a lane that they could play towards. But like I said, the other side of that coin is sometimes just champions that allow Bard to move around the map, that can play safe. I think Jhin is both that and can be a pretty decent 2v2. So Jace the last ban. So some of these kind of high prio bans are now hitting the ban table, but not until that second round.
All right, Team Liquid, what do we want to see here? As we definitely have the support, we definitely have a jungler. Those two don't really flex anywhere.
I think they'll go top for sure because you want to show that it's still a potential of a flex, right? So I'm expecting that they go their top laner here. I think you have to be something that is pretty safe blind. You know, I'm thinking about the potential of like a Gnar. I think that could be good, but Vayne is not banned, so that's actually pretty scary. So instead, they're just going to grab their ADC. So they do go Corki. They want to be able to see exactly what it is going to be.
Exactly. This does kind of remove the question marks around the flex possibility on the Syndra. You know it's going mid now, but you preserve the opportunity to counterpick for Morgan. So what does C9 want to go with now, knowing what the enemy bottom lane is, knowing you're up against the Corki bro?
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Because the trade-off is, you know, you could be blinding your top lane, but at the same time, now they get to see what your full bot lane is and actually look for an answer. It is going to be Mbessa top, so Morgan will know what he's playing into. Mbessa, the most common answer in Pro is Renekton, which was played in game number 1. You can also go for some of the range counter picks, like you can go, Vayne and champions along those lines as well if you want to play it, but it is always very risky, especially when there is Bard and Ryze. We get some pretty sick posters being shown off here in the crowd.
I'm always jealous of people who can draw, man. I can't even make a circle that's not lumpy. Some people just, they're born with
Victor
the gift.
Bot.
All right.
So it is going to be a mage.
bottom.
So that's kind of one of the other options. I was talking about you can play for dominant 2v2, or you can play either a mage or Sivir or something like that. That basically, it's less about 2v2 and more be free Bard. Go roam.
Do whatever you want. I'm going to laser the wave.
Exactly. I'm going to laser the wave. I'll be down here. I'll be scaling. And it is really something that is very powerful when you're playing these scaling mages. Being able to have the bot lane roll quest. There is that Gnar that did eventually come through. We kind of got there. I thought they were going to blind that and then wait for counter pick for bot lane and try to get a winning 2v2, but instead they do decide to go for that last pick Gnar. And it is just kind of like a skill matchup, honestly. Generally, as the Mbessa, you are just kind of withstanding the storm, and then you're waiting until gank assist comes, and you hit your public execution, you can maybe get a kill.
I feel like this is going to be much more of a standard game of League of Legends compared to game number 1, right? We have ranged champions in mid. Both of the AD carries obviously not going to be replaced with any assassin type of thing. You've got Bard for a ranged support. You've got Gnar, who's kind of like half and half. So not going to be at those weird spots like game number 1. You and I were even talking during the break. Despite the fact that there were some high kills in that first game, it didn't exactly feel like a constant go, go, go type of game because it was really quiet until 8 people needed to die at once in the melee soup, and then it was really quiet.
Exactly, and when you have no range champions, you have no sieging, which is just such a core part of the game, right? Where it's like you can group, you can siege, you can chip away at towers. Can't really do that very effectively with all melee champs here, but going to be exciting to see if C9 can battle back in this game, push us to a game 3 here against TL. C9 with the roster changes, with the changes behind the scenes as well, with the coaching staff coming into play and trying to right the ship, trying to start off Summer Split here with a win because they ended losing 6 straight games at the end of last split, missing another international. That is not where they want to be. That is not the expectations of the org. So pressure is on here for C9, playing against another one of these top-of-the-table teams. These are the competitors that you've got to show you can be better than if you want to make Worlds.
But you said it in game number 1, Mr. Azael. This is regular season. This is that comfort zone for C9, and we'll see how comfortable they are feeling, how well they can bounce back after game number 1. Because honestly, game number 1 was really close for a long time. And just by the nature of those compositions, it just kind of comes down to, okay, the first team that really clutches a fight, which was Team Liquid, is just going to take control of it. So for C9, I think you say, all right, we just got to play better. Like, it's not like we have some great dysfunction that cost us the entirety of game 1. Well, and we have to respect the crabs more. That's what you've got to keep in mind, too.
Respect the crabs and respect the lock.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have to be respected. You can disrespect him as much as you want for the rest of the series. He's not here anymore. But speaking of respect, I think Team Liquid earned some respect from some of the other regions here as they did go 3-0 in their match at like Carmine Corp, that head-to-head, obviously the NA versus EU rivalry. We always love to hype that up. Team Liquid smashed that one. They also smashed the second seed from the LCP. Their only losses were to T1 in that play-in stage, but when your only losses are to the reigning triple world champions, I'm going to give you a little bit more of a pass on that.
Exactly. It's a bit more understandable. T1 in play-ins was always going to be a tough nut to crack, but TL did have some really good competitive games against them too, which was something that really kind of made people very excited. We saw a lot of their members in great form. I think Core was playing some of his best league that he's played in a long time, was really shining. Morgan was unreal at MSI, and I'm really kind of curious to see if he can actually bring that here to the LCS, because while he was not bad by any means in the LCS, he was a really good top laner. He wasn't anywhere near as dominant as he was at MSI. He was just going in and solo killing Kana and Doran like on repeat, it felt like. And this guy, we haven't seen that level of lane dominance from him of late, so want to see if he can really bring that back to NA.
And I feel like so many times when you see teams that look one way domestically, you get to international play and you practically never get the same thing once you go to the bigger stages. You either get the guys where they can't rise to the occasion, they get inside their own heads, they get nervous and they don't play the way they normally do, or they step up, they can see the extra challenge and they rise to that, and it really shows exactly what you're talking about, where Morgan was really putting on world-class performance.
He was, and I think something that's really interesting, you know, having talked to TL and some of their coaching staff, is that because a lot of the players on this team all believe that they have incredibly good teammates, in some ways it kind of like put them in a weird mindset where a lot of the players were all of the mindset that, okay, I'm up like 5 CS, I'm up 7 CS, I won my matchup, I'm doing fine. All right, I don't need to push it anymore because Jan's going to carry for me, or Morgan's going to carry for me, or Quid will do it. Like, someone else is going to do the thing that wins the game, right? And I think they got into a weird mindset where they were all kind of expecting someone else to carry the game. They're all playing pretty well, but they all came from teams where they had to be the person doing the thing, and then they joined this team that is like this super team.
Wait, I can trust my teammates.
Exactly, and it almost like they trusted their teammates too much, and then everyone stopped trying to be the person that was driving the game forward.
Well, now Quid is under some pressure here in the mid lane. There's your Rune Prison, immediately followed up by the Sonic Wave. Quid knows to not waste the flash on that one. C9 gets paid, and it's Loki counting his money.
Yeah, nicely done there, and that is a really good place to put that money. This matchup, Syndra versus Ryze, can become very difficult very quickly for Syndra when Ryze gets ahead, because you get early Merc Treads, you get early Catalyst, and all of a sudden you just don't have the damage to threaten him.
And that was also after Quid's first TP. So normally that advantage of having teleport in the mid lane against a double mobility summoner spell like Ryze, completely neutralized for this early laning phase, that's going to hurt pretty bad for the Team Liquid mid.
Yeah, that is killer for sure. And that early tier had already been stacking, and you can see that the pieces of Catalyst were purchased up there by Loki. He initially was going to start going towards the Merc Treads, but then did just actually sell that Null Magic Mantle that he purchased up and decided to go for the Catalyst first, which is going to give him a tremendous amount of sustain. Jan, clearly, you can see by his purchases, he's basically just trying to farm and withstand this matchup. Went with the early Doran's Helm as his start, and then picked up a tier, now just going back for some long swords. Basically, his job is just to farm it out and to survive the amount of poke that Tactical can put out here on the Victor.
All right, Tactical. Obviously, you know, the big moment for Victor is once you get the upgraded laser, you get the aftershock on it, you're just instantly clearing all the waves, but everything's going to be A-okay for the time being. We do have some support attention towards the mid lane here. The nice part is, for every other support in the game, when you do this kind of just like drive past mid, make sure everything's okay, you don't really get to affect the matchup a whole lot. Bard at least dropping off those hot Cocos. It is about potions, what, like half a potion's worth of HP for a level 1 Coco, so throwing a couple of those in there, you get a free potion for Loki, just drinks them both up, gets a little bit of a top off on the HP.
Yeah, two of them is basically one refillable potion charge. Okay. It's 100 HP for 2, so it's pretty impactful. You know, it's not a full-on health potion, but it is, you know, very, very good. And those little things, you do that a couple times, Bard can be so annoying because the ganks can feel like so trash, but it actually is very effective anyway. You just drive by, proc electrocute, drop some shrines, and you just put them up a couple hundred HP.
Vulcan threw out the Cosmic Binding there, but he only found 2 of the little Jose Diodo corn dogs. So that didn't exactly give him the
Jose's babies.
Yeah, but Jose flashes over the wall anyway, so they do get the summoner spell out of the TL jungler. Jose level 6. However, Core JJ is the first one to make the play. Loki in danger here with the unleashed powers. Jose Diodo jumps in, but it's Loki staying alive. Jose knockback underneath the turret. Tries to use the call of the pack to stay alive, but no, it's Vulcan grabbing the kill. The 3v3 in the mid lane favors C9. Vulcan goes in for another Cosmic Binding. Blabber wants to finish off the kill into Core JJ, but he can't quite get the damage.
Yeah, I can't quite finish him off, but still good plays here from Blabber. Another visit here towards mid lane. This time it was TL trying to punish Loki, keep Quid in it. And Loki is able to survive, you know, flashes back, Blabber shows up, and they're able to turn this one around. So they knew Blabber was in the area, but they felt like they're going to be able to go for this. And Core sets it up, Q Flash has the crash down into that scatter, so they hit the full combo. But those heal shrines, the safeguard, the kick to peel as well from Blabber knocks Jose back into the tower. Doesn't have flash, and they take him down.
No, I'm dead. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And I mean, that's the cost of him getting caught at the Raptors. If he had Flash, it could have been a different story, and he might have actually been able to disengage from that. But, you know, got caught at the Raptors, was trying to actually eviscerate over the wall, but I guess couldn't find the angle, maybe tried to go over a part that was too fat on the wall, and ended up having to use his Flash, and C9 gets the punish for that immediately. And now Loki does have those Merc Treads, so it is going to be very, very difficult for them to burst him down.
All right, C9 happy with our first 8 minutes of gameplay, but here, Azael, remember, is where we got the first big battle of game number 1 around the Grubs. Team Liquid right now committing a lot of resources towards this. They have a 4-man potential play around the area. Blabber would potentially like to look at least one Grub, and it looks like Team Liquid will say, all right, that's fine. If you want the one, as long as we get the majority here, we'll step out. We don't want to risk any sort of a fight after. Morgan will just go back to farming up here in the top side. C9 does have priority and control over the top wave, which makes it more risky for TL to try to full commit to the 3 Grubs. So a 2-to-1 split favoring TL.
Yeah, and that's pretty common these days, you know, unless you have full control of the area. You try to rush down one of the Grubs without using Smite, then you try to take the second contested with that Smite, and then you just get out of there because you've now spent your Smite. They have theirs to get the third anyway, so there's not really any point in staying around and actually contesting that. So it's just that trade of the 2 Grubs for 1. TL going to be relatively happy about it, but at the end of the day, not too big of a deal.
Right.
And the big deal right now is just going to be the advantage really in mid. That is the biggest deal for Loki. You know, when he gets going, this Rise can be very, very difficult to deal with, and it's going to be hard to answer in the side lanes, I think, as well. You know, it's not necessarily an easy 1v1 for Morgan if Loki gets ahead, because they have so much ability to, you know, affect these lanes with Blabber coming over wall, with Vulcan coming in all of a sudden, and that is going to be the target. It's just going to be tactical, buying time, wave clearing, and allowing them to get up to these side lanes where they can play through Loki and Thanatos. That's eventually what they're looking for.
Plus, with Morgan, like you're saying, being your primary side laner on the Team Liquid side, he has to build steel caps because you're up against Ambessa as your lane opponent and Lee Sin as the enemy jungler, which means you don't have the Mercury Treads for the extra defensive capability and CC reduction against the Rise. So if Loki pops Ghost and throws you in Rune Prison, you are in jail. You are directly in jail. You are going one place, and that's back to your own fountain with a black and white screen. As C9 starting up the Drake. Here, it's 10 minutes into the game. Over the wall comes Jose and Core JJ. Want to try to at least turn this into a 50-50 split. Tactical and Vulcan thinking about stopping them here as the Realm Warp is about to arrive. Core JJ and Jose Dioto might be in a little bit of trouble. The gravity field catches Core JJ. They burst him down immediately. Jan has made his way over into the fight, though. Blabber wants to try to secure the Drake, and he does do just that. C9, they find themselves a kill, but they've lost their own carry in the process. So a 1-for-1 trade here, but the objective goes to C9.
Yeah, C9 going to be happy about that. I think it was actually the Victor that got the last hit on the Dragon as both the Smites went down, got incredibly low, and I believe it was Victor that did finish it off. TL, it just felt like they moved in too early. It's difficult for Corki and for the Syndra to actually join, because look at Quid's positioning here on the side. You see him, and Blabber was kind of threatening to section him off, and then Loki just joins in with the Realm Warp, and at this point, yeah, Jan does move up and does get in there, is able to actually knock down the Victor, but Core is gone, and it is a very tough situation there for Jose. That tick of the Arcane Storm from the grave secures that Dragon, and that is really the only thing that makes the difference.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy that the from beyond the veil, Arcane Storm ends up getting it, and Vulcan just barely surviving the Unleashed Power, taking him below 100 HP down in the bottom lane at the same time. Tactical getting jumped on. Core JJ sticks around too long, though. Absorbs one turret shot too many to make it an even trade, as Thanatos nearly killed here in the top lane. Below 100 HP himself, as Morgan is controlling the 1v1. Yeah,
Morgan going to be able to get the push here. He's going to farm some plates off the back of this as well, so that is really nice for TL. And yeah, Core went down, but I feel like from that position with how heated up the tower was, he probably had to. I think if he actually dropped the turret aggro one shot earlier, Jan is probably dead. So it is better to actually just take that L, fall down, make sure Jan survives so he can actually fully push that in and get the kill gold.
And Jan's feeling really good now. 2-0 on the Corki. You've got your Trinity Force. Your Doran's Helm honestly going to continue to give you a lot of value going forward here too, as Core JJ makes his way into the mid lane, and yet again Loki is the target. Flash is out to make sure that TL can't burst him down, but a TP is about to arrive as Thanatos uses the public execution just for the buffer to not get CC'd as he arrives and manages to walk away, but that's a TP and an ulti down for Thanatos just to get punched in the mouth and walk away.
Exactly, and Morgan is still just pushing top, right? Thanatos thought there was going to be a lot more happening there. I think his thought process was they're going to continue to chase Loki, and as they over-engage onto Loki, I'm going to TP in behind them, and I'm going to roast them. But they just peeled back. They were happy with getting the flash there from Loki, and it does mean that a slight incremental advantage continued to be built on that top side here from Morgan. And he is up about 600 gold at this point, has taken a couple plates off that tower, and is feeling pretty good in this side lane.
Yeah, Jan and Morgan are the reason why Team Liquid is ahead in gold, despite the fact that C9 leads with 2 kills. So Team Liquid certainly not sweating here in this early game. Only one Drake taken not very late, but pretty late first Drake, 10 minutes into the game. Obviously, the grubs were already split like we talked about, but we have an interesting map state coming up soon, since 2 minutes from now, we're going to have the Herald and the next Drake spawning around the same time, as Team Liquid's looking to maybe make a play down here in the bottom lane. CoreJJ with a Hex Flash over the wall, uses the crash down immediately as they full send it after C9, and Vulcan is popped. Jan goes on a killing spree. All 3 TL kills on the Corki, and they're not done yet. Loki tries to get away, but a beautiful scatter the weak coming out from Quid, and Loki falls too. It is right on point here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, TL really starting to take over on this bot side. I thought it was going to be Loki running away with this game after the early play towards mid. I thought they were going to be able to continue to accelerate that to get him out to the side lanes and have a lot of success there. But TL has just consistently attacked Loki, made his job difficult. And then here, when there is the read on the dive, they just hard engage on the other side away from the tower. The tower is never in range there. Core finds a great angle to lock up Vulcan, push back Blabber, and then Loki here tries to run more about. Look at this scatter, the max range scatter here. Catches him just on the edge. It can get extended when it goes through terrain, and there is an interaction there. So the fact that he actually shot it through the tower, I think may have made the difference, and Quid interrupts Loki. That means his death as well. And just like that, Quid is ahead on gold. Jan is 4-0, gonna have his second item here done pretty soon. And Blabber on the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, Blabber's gonna get hit with the scat of the week, and yet again, Jose the Odo is ready and waiting. CoreJJ is ready and waiting, and Blabber is just punished yet again. Jose looking for even more here. Wants to try to chase a little bit further, but with no Hound's pursuit for the next 5 seconds, has to jump back away. And this play and that bottom lane dive both felt like C9 are saying, okay, we know what they want to do, and TL's just saying, oh, we know that you know. And they just immediately have the counter for the counter ready to go. TL's just playing the fights better.
And it just feels like they always have the extra man, right? Like they're actually showing up with the additional member. C9 had 3 bottom to try to cover that dive. TL sent 4. They have a couple people up here looking to maybe set up a dive to set up an angle, for Blabber. Well, again, multiple members there come from TL and just immediately engage on the disadvantaged C9 member. It was the same thing they did bot, and now Tactical in trouble.
Yep, Hound's pursuit ready to go. I said that Jose the Odo needed a couple seconds up there in the top side, and now that he has them, he immediately puts that pressure on the bot side carry from C9. Flash had to be spent from Tactical there as Vulcan very low on HP, and that magical journey leads straight to the burning gates as the unleashed power sends him down, down, down.
And Vulcan's reaction on the player cam, it was head and hands. He looked very frustrated by that death because it wasn't just Tactical's flash that was forced. In that same moment, Vulcan had to flash to get in range for heal and locket to keep him alive. So he had used all of his resources to save Tactical, then gets caught by the scatter, and barely does not have enough health to survive. If he had the flash, if he had the heal, if he had the locket, anything, he probably would have lived. But he had to spend it all, and he dies right thereafter.
And this game that was looking good for C9 in those first 8 minutes has now been suplexed by a Team Liquid that seems like they have lost no time in recovering from going to MSI. When we did power rankings, when we had them on the show in waiting room yesterday, I had Lion and TL at 3rd and 4th. One reason for TL is because haha funny meme, but the other reason is because generally the teams that we send to MSI, their summer splits start off more slowly. They have to kind of recover a little bit, get back into the usual groove of things. But it doesn't feel like Team Liquid is missing anything. They seem very clear, very clean, very coherent.
Yeah, I completely agree. And obviously, they didn't play in main stage of MSI, so they had a little bit of time there. But that is really common because the schedule for LoL Esports is brutal, right? If you're a top team and you qualify for everything, you play in every playoffs, you go to finals, you go to MSI, you go to First Stand, you go to Worlds, your schedule is pretty much all year long. And so especially with additional events in between that some of the teams are doing as well, the schedule is grueling. And so often after these internationals, the top teams will take it easy for a week or two.
Well, CoreJJ tries to go in for the engage on Tactical, and while the Victor gets away at the start, he cannot cross the finish line to safety. Team Liquid with the 4-man commit finds the kill on Tactical. The Flash still half the cooldown remaining from the last time they popped that Summoner spell with Hound's Pursuit over in the mid lane on that play that cost Vulcan his life, and it just feels like Team Liquid is never slowing down. Yes, Thanatos going to grab a couple of plates in the tier 2 here in the bottom lane, but TL continues pressuring top and mid at the same time to the tune of a 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah, they are looking so good, and you said exactly what I wanted to highlight is the fact that they are punishing these missing resources so incredibly well, time and time again. They go mid, they force the flash on Tactical, they force the flash and the heal on Vulcan, they instantly kill Vulcan because he is missing that heal as well as the locket. Then they go back mid again. As soon as they get those side lanes pushed out, C9 responds and they just collapse on Tactical. He doesn't have his flash, they kill him again. It's just brilliant play here from TL. They're looking so confident.
Okay, a little bit of a whiff there from Core. He goes over the wall with a Hex Flash, can't find the Shattering Strike or the Crash Down, so Vulcan gets away for now. And honestly, if you're Vulcan, you got to be wiping the sweat off your brow from that one, because every time Team Liquid shows up anywhere, they've got the firepower behind the lockdown to get the picks.
And one of the scary parts in a game like this when you start falling behind is there's no true tank on C9. Who's supposed to be the one to face check, right? Bard has to keep playing for vision. You need to have someone out there getting wards, and so every time you're showing up to try to ward over a wall or try to place a ward in the brush or clear something out, he knows he might be getting engaged on here. And this was the last regular season match loss for C9. 435 days since they actually lost a regular season match. So not the start that they would be looking for here. Of course, there's so much talk about, their struggles to actually get back to international, but they have been so dominant regionally. And you definitely don't want to lose that because that has been their strength.
Well, for C9, they have got to turn it around here very soon, my friend, because 4,500 gold, 20 minutes into the game, where you don't have any other decided advantages like stacking towards an early soul, is a very, very difficult game state to try to secure the win from. Jose Diodo, now also with the Serpent's Fang fully completed as the second item. You're going to get a lot of value out of that. So many of these enemy champions getting a lot of value out of shields, and Jose's just going to cut right through it as Vulcan, again, under pressure, again, having to spend the flash just to get away.
And while we do go into a little bit of a lull state here, I want to take a moment to talk a bit about Tactical, who, actually maybe we're going to have a fight. I'll wait a moment.
All right, well, we'll give it a moment. Talk about Tactical a little bit after. As Blabber loses half HP, Team Liquid does not want to overcommit to anything. Instead, they're just going to bring the 3-man hit squad over to Yon, who is in the mid lane, crashing the wave into the tier 2 turret. Get a little bit more damage onto that one. Nearly take the 4th plate, but not quite yet.
And they're looking now for top. They're going to try to find Rise, but he's backing off, so I think we will be having a little bit of a calm state. And so if you haven't actually been watching Tactical for a while, obviously, this guy came into the league with TL in 2020. He's now getting to be back in the league playing against his old team. And after his stint on TL, he played for TSM for a while, then he played for Immortals, and then he was out of the LCS. But with Luminosity, he won 2 NACL titles. He didn't even start 2026 on an NACL roster, but then actually came in and was able to help his team win another one to actually turn the ship around when they were struggling, win another NACL title. So he's actually won the last 3 splits in NACL. He's been dominating at the tier 2 level. That is why he is back. That is why he is getting another chance. It is because of his consistent level of performance at the lower level. He has shown that he is the best of the best in tier 2.
Yep.
And so now he has again earned himself a shot here at the tier 1 level to play in the LCS, and it's a shot with a really good team.
Yeah, now though, the problem is that you're up against a really good team. Team Liquid's coordination triumphs yet again, as this time they find the pick on Blabber's Lee Sin. 1, 2, and 2 on that one. Has not been able to find all the playmaking that he would like in this game. Now dead for the next 30 seconds. Team Liquid also took the opportunity to grab the Ocean Drake around the same time. Now again, it's Vulcan in danger. Yawn is right there. Rocket over the wall. Won't quite be able to kill him. Vulcan survives with 100 HP, but C9 can't get anything back.
I mean, this is like a horror game. It's just jump scare after jump scare if you're C9. They try to check any brush, and Core JJ is in it. And this game, to me, has felt so much about Core and Jose and how much better they're playing than their opposite number. They feel like they are of one mind. They're moving around the map constantly. They're in every bush. They're jumping on the C9 members. And we haven't really been able to see a successful play with Blabber and Vulcan moving around and finding a pick and finding an angle. And the more and more plays that work for TL, the more they take over the vision, the harder it is for C9 to find those angles. And it just feels like the door is closing here very quickly, as Yawn is just miles ahead on 3 items. Quid has already got his Seekers. He's on 2.5. He is just so strong now, too.
Yeah, I was about to say, you want to close the door. How about nailing a board over it there with Seeker's arm guard on the Syndra? Just makes it so impossible to find what you're looking for with these picks, with these engages. Thanatos and Blabber set up for the potential 2-man angle as Quid flashes away, and then Chovy belts out of the range of the public execution. Quid staying alive for now, and there's your stasis to keep it going even further. Blabber's going to be taken down first as Jose Diodo jumps into the back line, and Thanatos cannot kill Quid. The Syndra stays alive as Team Liquid washes C9 off the map. Quid will finally fall, but at what cost? C9 lose 3 men as the last 2 hobble away.
It can't go much better than that for Quid, man. He played that so well. C9 had a lot of patience there to set up the play, and I thought it was going to work for sure. But Quid, early flash, then rocket belts away from the public execution, and then the timing on the stasis. He stasis the kick flash from Blabber on the animation. He stops him in his tracks. That was beautifully done there from Quid. He shut the door on the play, and he may have shut the door on the game here as C9 nearly 10K behind.
Yeah, it's a 9,000 gold lead, man. I think Team Liquid is just playing better League of Legends today. Let's watch it again.
This was insane. So Quid comes in, early flash, rocket belt to the side, scatter on the Lee Sin. Now watch this. Kick flash, stasis. No, you cannot get me. Blabber is not able to do anything after this. Quid kites back. Yeah, Thanatos eventually kills it, but on the other side, Morgan is crushing them. Yawn is untouched. Thanatos is under the tower with nowhere to go. Does flash in to get one back and get a shutdown, but it is 3 kills going the way of TL. Quid looking very happy about that, and C9 not looking quite as happy about how things are going in this series and in this game.
You saw a little shoulder shrug from Quid because he still died, but the real story is told by the smile on his face the entire time. He knows, like, yeah, sure, I died, whatever, but he knows he played it well enough to just completely smurf on C9 in that one. That 9,000 gold lead is about to find its way towards 5 digits of domination.
And the worst part, when you play against someone and they get an early Seekers and then they use it and it's really effective and they win the fight, is that they often have enough gold to do this. They go back and they buy Azonias, so he instantly has it available again. And you already tried to kick flash him, it failed. He tried to wait and find this play, it failed, and now TL looking unstoppable, pressing that 10K mark.
And they might not have Baron, but again, this is a team that's not limited by everyone being melee like game number 1. Your sieging is much easier. You've got the Corki, you've got the Syndra, you've got the full send with the Rel if you want to. So now that TL have taken the mid lane inhibitor, they're going to look towards bottom side. You can see Morgan getting that wave ready to push up while everybody else remains between the mid and bottom lanes, just trying to find continual harass on C9. You knock any of these C9 players low enough, all of a sudden they can't mount a defense. It's a 2-in-hit game instantly. Morgan transforms into Mega Gnar. That means C9's got to respect it. Core JJ wants to go in. Public execution coming out from Thanatos, looking to dive into the back line, but the Mega Gnar defensively trying to protect the Team Liquid carries. Thanatos gets himself back away. C9 aren't going to lose anybody, and they find the kill into Core JJ. Team Liquid finally overplays their hand a little bit, and C9 can stop them.
That was a beautiful outplay there from Thanatos. The public execution was so well timed, not only because it found the backline of TL, but because it immuned the engage from Core JJ. He instantly reacted to Core JJ flashing in with the engage there, buffers that perfectly, gets back into the backline of TL and keeps them alive for now. But this is going to be TL moving to Soul Point, Yes, you defended your base at C9. The game will go on, but there's no way you're getting out there and stopping that dragon.
No, that is now Soul Point for TL. Just about 27 minutes into the game, so it's not like it'll be a fast Soul. But when you're up against a team that's 9,000 gold ahead and you can barely ever kill anybody, Ocean Soul kind of just turns that barely into a hell no.
Yep.
Hey guys, time to win. I have to require him.
It's
There
time
you
to
go.
win.
Time to win. He's got 3 items. Don't look at how many items the other people have.
Nope,
Just focus on the fact that he has 3.
put your hand over that other side of the monitor.
Don't look at quitting Yon.
Yeah, you don't want to look at those guys. Their
Yeah.
inventories don't matter, only your own. As we do have the Spear, the Cleaver, the Eclipse there for Thanatos on the Ambessa. But man, look at those gold differences in jungle, in mid, in bottom lane. 2.5, 1.5, 3,500 gold for Jose, Quid, and Yon. As Team Liquid is not slowing down. It's 35 seconds until the Baron spawns, so they're just going to make sure these waves are pushed up. They control the enemy jungle. Look at all the wards being placed down. Control wards, normal wards. They want to make sure that if C9 tries to approach this Baron area at all, Team Liquid is ready to spring the trap.
Exactly, and it's just so difficult for C9 because TL can engage on anyone, and it's probably going to be a pretty good fight because everyone is pretty squishy. They're so far ahead. Whereas C9, it feels like you basically have to kill Yon instantly to have a chance, right? Quid is probably just not going to happen with Rocket Belt, with Zonias, with Flash. I feel like Yon, he's your best shot, but it's going to be very difficult to get there. And if you can do it, maybe you have a chance. But TL just need to start any fight on even numbers, and Yon now has the Infinity Edge, which means even more important to be able to take him down at the start.
Plus, with those Hex Optics, as soon as he has a single takedown, he'll be fighting from that much further range away. Core JJ going in here as Tactical does get caught out and exploded there with the Unleashed Power. Morgan finds the Mega Gnar. He doesn't even need the Terrain Slam as both the carries on C9 are erased from the Rift. And Team Liquid with a 5v3. The Baron is no longer required. Thanatos tries to dive into the back, but now he's immediately got to retreat. He wants to get the kill, but Quid goes golden, and it'll be a trophy for TL here in this first best of 3 of Summer Split. We know who the better blue boys are today, and it's Team Liquid with a clean sweep. 2-0, taking down Cloud9.